This is Jeremy for IncanExpeditions.com, and I'm here at the Lares Hot Springs, and this is the Lares Trek.
Welcome to another adventure. We're up in the mountains again, hiking through the high valley of Lares. Beginning at the hot springs, we'll truck up to the community of Huacawasi and to the nearby waterfall. From there, we'll continue up through the Huacawasi Pass and down to the Auracocha and Millvacocha lakes before arriving at Yanahuara in the Sacred Valley. We've got horses, hawks, geese, chickens, chinchillas, and of course, lots and lots of llamas and alpacas. This is the Lares Trek from the hot springs to Yanahuara. From the town of Calca in the Sacred Valley, it's a 2-hour drive to Lares and a short walk to the hot springs. The brown color of the water isn't due to being dirty, but it's rich in minerals and very healthy. There is also no sulfur smell, which is typical of thermal baths. The upper pools have varying degrees of hot, while the larger, lower pool is slightly warm. The showers also have different temperatures and give a great massage. There is also a campfire area and terraces for camping. From the entrance, I'm going left, which will take me up to the trail. So let's get going.
Gracias. Buen día. Buenos días, ¿cómo están ustedes?
¿Dónde es el viaje?
Hasta ¿cómo se llama?
Huacawasi.
Huacawasi, pasando la Abra Huacawasi. Ajá. Gracias. Ciao. The hot springs look really nice. My whole skin feels moisturized.
I find a spot for my ham and cheese lunch where I can enjoy the view. We're headed up this valley to the other side of the mountain to the small Quechua-speaking town of Huacawasi. And so I begin my journey. I find a wide, well-marked path which begins to follow the river. I reach the Pusaka sector before chasing this little hen.
At any given moment, you'll have to go up and away from the river because the river carved out a canyon on my left side over here. So that's just the way it is. The eucalyptus tree was brought over from Australia more than 100 years ago. They used it for timber. That was its purpose and its ability to adapt to this climate.
For those who want an easier path with less nature, there's a road on the other side of the river.
So if you follow the river, up here around the bend is Huacawasi, and the mountain at the top there in the background is Pumahuanca. To the right of that is the Huacawasi Pass, which is where we're going to go through. But today I think I'm just going to follow this trail down to the river and find a campsite somewhere next to the water.
There are several versions of this hike, some ending at the hot springs and others ending at Ollantaytambo. Almost all include a trip to Machu Picchu.
Well, I didn't make it down to the river, but I found this nice little creek, which is really nice, and then this plot of land with some flat spots, so I ended up over here. It's going to get a little windy coming up the valley, but I've got some windbreak with the shrubs and some boulders. But let me show you what I consider the first time I saw this. For a windbreak, I thought I would just take my tarp and just make a roof, but then the rocks on the top are just ready to fall on my head, so we just skipped that idea. That'll probably just be my outhouse.
This time I'm going with my typical tent pole tarp setup, but I forgot my ground sheet at home. Tonight's entertainment, alpacas on the other side of the river, and that's about it. The next morning, after a pit stop in my luxury outhouse, I hit the road. This hike is considered an alternative to the Inca Trail, although it's not as difficult. It's a great way to see typical Andean highlands if you're short on time. The trash caught in the fencing has been tied on purpose so it's more visible to animals.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo está?
Soon enough, I reached the town of Huacawasi, with the Huacawasi Lodge looming above.
Buenos días. Ahí Anchucashang.
It looks like the locals came up with a form of tug-of-war without a rope. Now leaving the town, I'm headed up to the big waterfall. It looks like there's an alpaca who will be missing me. And one Andean goose. Tuna and crackers, not my favorite, but I don't want to be carrying a can of tuna up through the pass. And looking back at Huacawasi. So I thought about camping here, but this is the problem. These are the same stickers that stick in the pads of my dog's feet. You better be wearing something on your feet or have hooves. Okay, so I've got to get back to the trail, which is on the other side. I reach a dead end. Now I'm looking to find a place where I can jump across. I'll tiptoe across those rocks. Hold on, I see it. Let's just take this little makeshift bridge. Now maybe this is true or not, but Huacawasi means worshiping house in Quechua, and this whole town could have been named after this one structure. Okay, staring contest. Ready, go. You flinched. No, okay, you win. I continue to climb. The goal today is to get up and over. Now, I don't know what it is, but every time I see these alpacas, I just think of Dr. Seuss. I just looked this up. Dr. Seuss and his wife visited Peru twice between 1932 and 1934. The main focus of the trip was to study animals. Now it all makes sense. The terrain is now getting rockier, it's getting colder, and the air thinner. I stop to hydrate before the final stretch. The pass is always further and higher than you think, so always plan for extra.
Well, this is the last little hurdle. I'm hoping to be up through the pass and down at the lake, Laguna Auracocha, with daylight to spare.
Now my guess is that this is a variable hawk, but it's too far away to tell. A few more painful minutes uphill, and after a brief encounter with the only hiker I'll see for the entire trip,
Buenas tardes. Ahí Anchucashang.
we arrive. The other side of the pass is much drier than the Huacawasi side, and you can even see the moisture blowing over. I head down, eager to get camp set up. Vizcachas are in the chinchilla family. They prefer the high altitude in these cold little rocky crevices. It looks like a couple of coots are now fleeing the scene. And there's a glacier up towards Pumahuanca. So since I don't have my ground sheet, I've got to find something dry. How about that little green patch? And it was a peaceful night here at Laguna Auracocha. And for dinner, beef stew, courtesy of Inca chef. The following morning, 20 minutes down the mountain, I reached Laguna Millvacocha. And shortly after that, a braided creek with agricultural plots, followed by a forest of cayuña. Cayuña trees were used by the Incas and even locals today for water and habitat conservation purposes. It also makes great long-burning firewood for firing ceramics. The vegetation soon changes to scrubby, green, and more tropical. And I'm noticing bromeliads in the branches. I can now see the sacred valley of the Incas. It's not far now. Things are in bloom. The rainy season just ended a couple weeks ago. But we've still got flooded roads. And after a couple of crossings and another makeshift bridge, I reached the town of Maranay. And soon enough, Yanahuara. Thanks for watching.